Hello and welcome to the Youth Academy Guide for FC25. Thanks to the multitude of changes EA have made to career mode, this is a much more simplistic guide in comparison to past games. After watching this, I'm incredibly confident that you'll be producing wonder kids in your own save on a very consistent basis. Before we dive in, consider subscribing to the channel. It's entirely dedicated to the Youth Academy in career mode, and I'm sure you would love it. The main series running throughout FC25 will see Chesterfield utilising the youth squad in the ultimate search for European glory. The first 2 episodes are available to watch right now, so give it a shot once we're finished here. So why focus on building a successful academy? Well, it remains incredibly overpowered from a financial standpoint. Nothing comes close to its money-making capabilities in career mode, so a thriving academy will always bring its extra benefits and make your job as manager so much easier. Even before we begin career mode, we have our first decision to make: controlling the rate of growth on senior and youth players. From my lower league experience, you want to set the senior players to fast and leave the youth players on normal. If instead you're playing with a top tier side from the get-go, I recommend not changing either setting. The reasons why will be explained shortly. Once we're in the menus, navigate to the youth scouting section and hire 3 scouts up. The game will kindly give you 1 to begin with, but if you started out at a smaller club, they won't be very good. We're only looking for the best of the best, 5 stars in both judgment and experience. If you're working with less money and have to hire below 5 stars, then take into account what experience and judgment do. I'll use the same analogy as I've used in the past. Think of this like a lottery or a raffle. More experience gets you more tickets, whereas better judgment makes every ticket more likely to win. They're both fairly useful, so I have no preference. Just sign up the scout that feels right, but replace them as soon as you can get a 5-star scout on board. Setting up a scouting mission is completely different this year. The position and role selected will be the deciding factor on which attributes get boosted. But due to the game being slightly buggy with these attributes, it'll need a patch and more testing before finding out really effective combinations. What I can suggest to you is attempt to find players that fit into your tactical system. Players comfortable in certain roles will gain a boost in game as a result. Don't be shy to experiment here with a variety of different positions and roles. We'd love to know if you find anything overpowered in the attribute spread. Furthermore, any new information that I can share with you about setting up scouting assignments, especially once they end up fixing the issues, will be documented in a pinned comment to this video. Once the assignments are locked in, it'll take an entire month for them to return with their first reports. And this is basically all what this tutorial boils down to. You're looking for really high numbers right here. This number is the maximum potential the player can reach. Preferably, you're looking for this to be 90 or above. And no, that's not to say that the player will become a 90 overall. It just increases the chances of them at least reaching 80, a decent player for most big clubs. This is a range after all, and it will change over time with greater understanding. The overall range located on the top panel does not need to be taken into account at all, unless the player is 16 or 17 years old, because any low overall players can be boosted thanks to the new bi-monthly youth tournaments. So please make sure to play those all the time with the players that desperately need it. In the case of high potential 16 and 17 year olds, you want their overalls to be around 60 or above. Anything lower and the player is essentially playing catch-up, usually never fulfilling their potential. However, say that you're desperate for a striker, and a 55 overall 90 potential player is offered to you in one of these reports. Take them. Don't ignore them simply because they don't have optimal numbers. We're not talking about strict guidelines here, just information that can give you a helping hand. Don't forget, in a change from FC24, these youth players grow in height as the years go by, so don't dismiss a kid, especially if they're 13 or 14 years old, for being too short. A great tip is to keep these youth players in the academy for as long as possible. In there, they receive constant and steady growth with no external factors. Keep an eye out for inbox messages of players requesting to be moved into the first team, because if they don't get promoted after that message, they will leave your club completely. Once in the first team, they are susceptible to a thing called called Dynamic Potential that's sadly been pretty broken since EA introduced it. Especially in the lower leagues, this feature is a potential killer if your youth graduates aren't playing regular football. So get them loaned out as soon as possible until they're ready. Loaning can also cause overall bumps to weaker players, something you can use to your advantage. But even that can come with its downsides. As the game is coded weirdly, your youth player could miss out on useful playstyle pluses in the future. You are kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place. Hiring loads of first team coaches can also drastically change your rate of development, but much like Dynamic Potential, this is not balanced correctly. In the lower league side, you're given less coaching slots to begin with, and therefore can't achieve the desirable levels that the game suggests. Which leads me on to my very last piece of advice. If you are able to get this game on PC, get this game on PC. Career Mode has a dedicated modding community that will clean up all the untidy, unfinished work by EA. Programs like Aranactu's live editor and the database editor RDBM means you can solve most of the problems on the fly. We're still awaiting the release of Aranactu's tools for FC25, so before committing to any big PC purchases, please check up on his Patreon to see if the program is available and working. RDBM, on the other hand, is already working with FC25 saves and should receive an update fairly soon. But be warned, that program is a whole lot of numbers, whereas Aranactu works on developing a user-friendly interface. And with all that out the way, you should now be ready to transform your club into a conveyor belt of talent. If you have any additional questions, please be sure to post them in the comments section. Try and help each other out as much as possible, and I'm sure lovely members of my community will keep popping in to try and assist you guys too. Good luck on your scouting missions, and please tell me all about the players you found using this guide. Take care everyone, see you later.